Welcome to the Brand Amplifier experience. This is Alex Dumas, and I am honored to be here with Brenda McLamb. She is an entrepreneur, the founder of Temenos Farms. She's an equine coach, and she helps her clients come back home to themselves, to their wholeness, and find peace in the present moment. But most important, she's a wife, a loving mother, and an advocate for abused children in the world. So Brenda, welcome, and I'd love to hear from you. How did you come to own Temenos Farms?
I grew up on a farm, and I loved all the animals. Every single one of them, I loved them, but horses were my absolute favorite. Horses and ponies, and they were just my passion. I was born loving horses. But during my adult life, I did not have horses. There was just no time or space, it seemed like, to have horses, so they were out of my life. But when I was 55 years old, I decided that I was going to have horses again. And I got horses. And then getting the horses, I began to realize just how much they could help people. So my horses and I, we embarked on a way to help people, and that's how Temenos Farms came to be.
That's fantastic. Now, when you say you got horses, did they drop from like a stork? Like, did you go into the horse market? Like, how did... Like, walk me through this a little bit, please.
Well, in the years before I got the horses, because when I was in my 30s, I always said, when I turn 40, I'm getting horses again. But in my 40s and a lot of my 50s, there was no time for horses. But mid-50s, I decided, yes, I'm going to get horses again. Okay, I'd like to rescue a horse. Who do I see about rescuing a horse? And one day on Facebook, literally, I saw where so many horses are sent to auction. There's too many horses, donkeys, ponies, there's too many. And when somebody gets tired of them, there's too many born, there's not homes for all of them. They go to auctions, and many of them end up in slaughterhouses in Canada and Mexico. And these are horses that are sound, young, expensive show horses, race horses, all kinds of horses end up in that bad situation. So one day on Facebook, there pops up a post about an auction in Pennsylvania. And this woman goes in and she features horses, and she's hoping people will see them and commit to taking them. So I saw that. I watched her post. I sent a donation, and then I decided, I'll probably cry. This is a big story for me. So anyway, I sent a donation, kept watching her, and I thought, my horses are going to come from Pennsylvania. They're going to come from New Holland Auction in Pennsylvania. So be careful what you speak out loud. Be very careful what you say out loud, because it's liable to happen. So once I said it out loud to a special life coach friend of mine, within 3 weeks I had committed to 4 horses in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And I was so happy. At the 48-hour mark, I panicked. I thought, what have I done? What have I done? Yes, and then I remember thinking, I didn't pray enough about this. I remember thinking that. We didn't have anything ready. We have a farm, we have land, but we didn't have a pasture ready. We didn't have a shelter ready or a barn ready. And so I hit that panic moment, but when it passed, it was the most wonderful feeling in the world. Yeah. And I had such peace about it. It's a decision that absolutely made no sense, but I was so happy. We had 6 or 7 weeks to get ready for them. They had to stay in Pennsylvania in quarantine for 4 weeks. Okay. And then we needed another few weeks to get ready for them to come. So that is how I got my 4 horses. The best decision I've ever made.
I love the little lessons sprinkled in there. You weren't ready, but you followed your intuition. You had that moment of doubt and panic of, what am I doing? Am I a moron? But something inside drove you, and you touched on a little bit of growing up on the farm, of growing up with horses and ponies and having this love for them. And then for a good gap of your life, right? You have horses, no horses, then all of a sudden the decision, the commitment, I'm gonna have them back in my life. Right. And I would just love to kind of peel back a little bit. Can you walk me through your healing journey? Because so much of your work, we're gonna touch on the work a little bit, but so much of your work, I was assume is inspired by your own healing journey. So can you walk me through that for a bit?
Yes. During my adult life, there was so many stresses, so many pressures. The business is farming, and sometimes that can be a lot of pressure, a lot of stress in that, because it's not a small family farm thing now like my husband grew up on and I grew up on. It's more big business, and so there was stresses there. There were stresses in relationships, extended family, just so many stresses. And I tried to make everything okay for everybody. And I tried to be what people needed me to be. And I got so burned out and so exhausted. And I believed that if I could just do more, if I could be more, everybody around me could be happy and I would be well with the world. And we were blessed to have a wonderful daughter. She came early, so that was some stress and pressure. So at a certain point, it all was too much, but I didn't tell anybody it was too much. I'm okay, just tried harder. Yeah. So that ended up in major depression, and I finally sought treatment for that. And then pretty much exactly a year into treatment for major depression, I had the first memories come up of childhood trauma. And the next year was spent trying to figure out the who's and the what's and all of that. So that was a very dark year of trying to figure it out. But all during this, I still said I was fine. To extended family, to friends, I put on that good face. And it was very hard. It made everything much harder. So all during the decade of the 90s, that was spent healing, growing, changing. And that was a precious time of healing, and I'm grateful for it and grateful for everybody that helped me. And then at the end of that decade, my parents' health deteriorated. And so for the next more than decade, I was a caregiver. And that pretty much was, my life pretty much revolved around that. So that was hard too.
For anyone who out there who's dealing with any serious mental wellness questions and challenges, I salute you for doing something that most people won't do. You sought help, you sought outside help, received it, and it's interesting that you're fine, and then you kind of go back into the revolving door of caregiving, and this is the reality for aging parents and adults as we have to navigate those waters. So I just salute you for that. Switching gears to thinking about the work you do, right? You have this unique approach, right? Equine coaching, this is not something that is commonplace, right? So you can tell me more about the relationship that you have with the horses, because what I'm gaining from you is like this special connection, this special bond, something that I can't see, right? This invisible thing that you have, this relationship with these horses and some of the wisdom that maybe they imprint on you.
I learned so much the summer before I got my horses, a year and a half before I got my horses. I started volunteering at a rescue organization. Their mission is to help emotionally distressed children. Yeah. And it's Hope Reigns of Raleigh. I would just go ahead and say their name.
Yeah, say it.
So Hope Reigns of Raleigh, I started volunteering there. And I became a session leader, which means that myself, one child, and a horse, we'd have 90 minutes together every week. And growing up with horses and actually being a barrel racer, if you could even believe that, I did not know the level of communication that people can have with horses. I did not know there was that unspoken language that you can communicate with them. At Hope Reigns, I saw these children who were dealing with just devastating things. I saw them learn to communicate with these horses. They knew what the horses were saying just by the horses' eyes, by their body language, and in turn, the horses were reading those children. And I watched that and learned so much there. And it was a year and a half after I started volunteering there that I got my own horses. And I was so fortunate through Hope Brains, I met this amazing life coach who is also a horse whisperer. I can't say trainer because even though she's excellent at that, and she is a trainer, so I take that back, Elizabeth. But she is a trainer. She's so much more, and she taught me so much about literally talking to the horses with no words, because it's possible and anybody can do it. So in the work I do, a person comes out to see me and we go in with one horse or we go in out with the herd. Mm-hmm. And what I tell people about horses, many times people will say, the horse knows I'm nervous and that makes the horse nervous and it's just not working. The reality is with the horse picks up on you're nervous, but you're trying so hard not to be. You're trying not to be nervous. That's what the horse does not like. Mm. If you step out there and you say to yourself, or you say out loud, horse, I'm nervous. I am nervous. The horse sees your inside matching your outside. Okay, I'm nervous, but I'm telling you I'm nervous. I'm owning that I'm nervous and I'm standing here in my nervousness. Mm. The horse recognizes that you're in alignment, that you know who you are. The horse is very interested in a person who's standing there in their truth and is honest about what's going on with them. The horse will come over and really want to be with you, want to engage with you, communicate with you. But it's the pretending that the horse does not like, because it's not safe for them, because they're prey animals. They are expecting a mountain lion to jump on their back at any moment and eat them. So that's not safe for them. So they see someone who's out there who's pretending to be one thing when they're actually feeling another way. To the horse, that's not safe, and they do not want to be near that.
This looks like safety to me.
Oh, it is. That's absolute joy. That is joy, yes.
I want to take a second to acknowledge you for something, because when you're walking me through your journey before, you had to try so much. You had to put on the brave face. Everything was fine. And here in this career path now, people can be safe. People can be relaxed. They don't have to put on the face, the mask, whatever you want to call it. So I just want to see, do you recognize that? Like you've come from that place of everything's great, nothing's wrong. Right? You're almost like autopilot to being very present, being grounded with people. Do you recognize that?
More so in this moment now, Alex. More so that you said it out loud. I see it so clearly now. I thought, yeah, I see that so clearly now. Yeah.
And I want to dive into the work, right? The clients, the people who come out to the farm, because you got some great stories about, we've talked about this off air, about individuals who maybe came and you can't come to the farm like, oh, the horse is going to see I'm nervous. They're going to, right? They're rigid, they're tense, and then afterwards they're not. So tell me about a client that had that type of transformation working with you.
Okay. I have a client, she'd been out several times, right. And she had questions in her life about relationships, co-workers, family, friends, just questions and trying to sort things out. And when she was working with one of the horses that particular day, and she'd been several times, and she was talking through things, and she was saying how much she really did want a connection, that was what she was desiring. And then I noticed that she was standing there, the horse was beside her, the horse was just calmly beside her, but she had her hand up on the horse's neck. Okay. And I saw that, and I asked her, I said, do you notice where your arm is? Do you notice where your arm is on Lily? That was the horse's name, Lily. Right. And she said, oh my gosh, she can't come any closer because I'm keeping her at arm's length. Wow. So that's the kind of thing that happens out there. It's impossible to explain. I can try, but it's impossible to explain.
What a powerful insight, right?
Yeah.
The physical reminder.
Yes.
And the emotional distancing this person had.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So Brenda, what would you say for somebody who has questions, or maybe they have some concerns, they have some there might be some real fear about, oh, am I going to be safe? Am I going to fall off this horse? Am I going to be emotionally safe? Can I share these things with you? What would you say for somebody who's having these kind of questions in their mind and helping them relax into the work with you?
If anybody comes out and they have some concerns about safety with the horse, I always do a safety demonstration. I tell them just the different safety points. I always know where your feet are in relationship to where the horse's feet are. Never stand directly behind them. Horses have 2 blind spots at the very back behind them,
Right.
and then in front of them. Their eyes are on the side of their head. So they really can't see if you approach them from the front. It's better to approach from their shoulder to their eyes.
Okay.
So we have a safety demo. And then I will always be with a client who's going to be with the horse. I'll be right beside them if they need me to be. And if not, I just stand a little distance away. So I'm always so respectful. And nobody ever has to do anything they don't want to do. Because it's all about the client leads the way in these sessions. It's what they need, it's what they're interested in, it's what they would like to explore. So I'm very conscious of their own safety. And emotionally safe, I've been told that people do feel safe there. They feel emotionally safe.
Yeah.
They feel safe to share, and the horses play a huge part in that. There's something about, again, when we go back to pretending to be one way when you're not, when somebody finally takes a deep breath and they think or say, okay, and that horse engages with them, they get a sense of what it would feel like to be in that place all the time of just being real in whatever moment. And that can bring up some feelings because they don't usually feel that way, because we live in the culture of we should, ought to,
Right.
we feel judged. But in that moment, they don't. But again, it's client-led, so it's whatever they need in the moment. And I try to be very careful about people sharing, and because I don't even know how to say this part, but for them to be emotionally safe, that's really important. And nobody has to share what they don't want to share, but if they do, the horse is always ready to listen. And then I'm there just as a support person, just as a support person for them.
You know, I'm going to challenge you on that. I think you're more than a support person. You said something offline to me, which I want to bring to light here, and you've put a couple of words together, right? The feeling, your feet are where the horse is, right? And just helping somebody be grounded and present. So put that together for me.
One way to help clients ground when they get there, because the other thing I notice with so many people, because people are working, they have families.
Yeah.
They're on their phones with work or family, again, whatever. But there's always somebody or something. So when they come to see me, all of a sudden it's just me. Oh my gosh, there's the sky, here's the trees, here's this horse, it's just me. And it can be kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And one thing I ask is, would you like to take a few minutes to breathe or ground yourself? And one way we do that is I'll ask the question, can you feel your feet? Take a moment and feel your feet. Do you feel them touching the ground? Do you feel connected to the earth? Is the rest of your body connecting to the earth? And that usually makes a difference. They kind of settle into their time there.
Yeah. As you were describing it, I'm picturing my body. Where are my toes? Where are my knees? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something. It's a full immersive experience, right?
Yes.
As you were describing it, the trees, the sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
the grass, the open air, the smells of the farm, whatever
Yeah.
it might be like.
Yeah.
You have this farm, Temenos Farm. Walk me behind the origin of this name, Temenos. It's very unusual.
Whenever I first started thinking about doing this work, I had a visitor come out, and it was pouring rain that day, And so we stayed in the house a while before we went out to see the horses. I shared with her what I wanted to offer there for people. A safe place to come, a place to be, a place to leave the responsibilities and duties and the shoulds of the world, a place to be. And as we talked, she said, well, you're wanting to create a Temenos. And I just looked at her. She said, do you know what that means? I said, no, I've never heard the word. So she said, well, let's look on Google now so you can see all the meanings and the history of the word. It's a Greek word from the ancient days, and it means a space set apart, a sacred space where one can heal, where one can go deep, where one can just be. So I looked at all the origins, all the definitions, and I thought that is the most beautiful name. And it also means a circle. So part of my work involves being with one person, one horse in a round pen. So there is that circle. So Temenos Farms to me seemed to be the most perfect name, a safe, sacred place where people can come to just be.
Yeah. Circle for me represents being whole, being complete.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love this. You get to cultivate personal growth through partnership with horses.
Yes.
So walk me through time and space, because there was something interesting you said about time and space.
Yes.
People.
Those two words came to me when I really was beginning to step into the training for this work, time and space. And it took a while to think on those two words and what that meaning was. But it came to me that if people will give themselves the gift of time to escape their day-to-day things, to just come out and be,
Yeah.
I will give them a beautiful space and a horse or horses to be with while they're just being. So if they'll give me the time, I will furnish that beautiful space.
For anyone who's looking to do work with you or get more information about you and the farm, where do we go? How do we connect with you?
I have a website, temenosfarms.com, so they can reach me through that website.
That's fantastic. Before we wrap up, you've been amazing in this brand amplifier experience, and I'd love for you to just summarize in your words, like, what has this been like for you to work with me and Sarah and to be here now in this beautiful studio and share this with the world?
It has been the biggest gift, just the biggest gift to work with you both, to see how dedicated you are to your work and helping me bring my work out into the world. So your support, your expertise, your knowledge, your experience, every single thing has been a gift to help me get this out into the world, and I am so grateful, so grateful.
No, we're grateful for you. It's been an honor to work with you and continue building you up and helping you reach the masses and reach people who are wondering right now, am I too busy for this? Am I stuck? Am I ever going to get better? Do I have to keep putting on the mask and knowing that there's a place that you can just be yourself?
Yeah.
You can feel your feet.
Yeah,
So thank you,
love
Brenda.
that. Thanks. Thank you, Alex.